Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. I'm the founder of Ashes to Beauty Ministries. Thank you for joining on my YouTube channel. Today I'm answering your questions, and this is one of the most common questions that I'm asked, which is how do I beat the narcissist at their own game, or how do I flip the table on the narcissist? So instead of feeling like you're constantly the victim, you're constantly having to react or respond to what the narcissist is doing, how do you take control over that dynamic in the relationship, and how do you become the one in the lead? And this is a really difficult question to answer broadly because every narcissist is different, just like every victim of the narcissist is different. So in some dynamics, it's going to be completely impossible for you to beat the narcissist at his game, which I'm going to speak about in just a minute. And on the other hand, it's going to be completely unnecessary for you to do that. And so I speak a lot about discerning which it is, which situation you're dealing with, and what the appropriate response is a lot on this channel. And I'm going to dive into that in this video. So let me just start from the beginning by saying, if you think that there's some way for you to outmaneuver the narcissist at their game, there's not. If you're not a narcissist, you don't have enough experience. Your brain is not wired to think like a narcissist, to think 5 steps in advance of the chess pieces that you need to move, like little pawns in your game that are people, that are human lives. And so you're not going to be as good as the narcissist at that game. And it's really important that you recognize that you're not the narcissist and that it's going to be hard to play that game and beat them. I often tell my clients, like, narcissists are like swirling vortexes. And they know that they control everything that's within that vortex. You know, they're flying monkeys and they're supporters, and the way that they can manipulate systems to support them. And if you get sucked into that vortex, you're going to be involved in the narcissist game. You know, and it's going to be very hard for you to beat the narcissist at that specific game. But on the other hand, if you can draw the narcissist into your territory, into your turf, and the area that you have authority over, it can be very easy for you to then command peace or command order in that situation. So what I mean by that is, let's take this for example. Let's say you work with narcissists, and this is actually a really good example because while I talk a lot about going no contact with narcissists, there's some situations where you're just not going to have that option available to you. You're going to have to deal with or interact with a narcissist on some level. And working with a narcissist is one of the best examples at this, because you could switch jobs. Like, you could just decide, I've had it with that boss, and switch jobs, and still end up working with or working for a narcissist at the new job. And so it's situations like this where you really have to develop strong boundaries, learn how to set them, learn how to enforce them, and learn how to take control over your life, over your specific atmosphere. And let's take this example that I'm using here. You're working with a narcissist. Instead of trying to do what the narcissist is doing to you, maybe they're stealing your ideas, maybe they're reporting false reports about you to HR or to your boss, or maybe they're taking credit for something that you're doing. It could be a million different things and that the narcissist likes to do. It could just be that they're constantly putting you down, that they constantly have this like little gang or little posse that is constantly criticizing, critiquing what you're doing, and making you feel like none of your ideas are any good. Whatever it is that the narcissist is doing, instead of trying to do the same things, like also retaliate by filing a bunch of reports to HR or complaining to your boss about them or whatever, it's often necessary to just remove yourself emotionally and mentally from that situation. What I mean is not start ruminating about those thoughts. Don't get into toxic rumination about what they're doing to you and wishing revenge on them. But instead, when you can kind of take a look objectively at the situation, at your work, your work ethics, and be realistic about what you are doing and what the narcissist is doing, and instead allow some time and allow some space for the narcissist to step in their own trap. So typically, if you give the narcissist enough leeway, they will just hang their own selves with that rope that you give them. And this sometimes doesn't happen as quickly as we want it to, but if you can really remove yourself emotionally from that piece where you aren't trying to get back at the narcissist or trying to do unto the narcissist as they're doing to you, you're really going to notice that they're just going to be found out. It is a spiritual principle. There is a law at work here, and that speaks to you sow what you reap. You might call it karma. So you will, or you will reap what you sow, rather. And this is still, there's a spiritual principle at work here. And again, sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as you want it to. And I have another video where I talk about specific situations and what you can do if you work with a narcissist where it's just too unbearable. But so there are some things that you might need to do in addition to, you know, focusing on what you are doing and trying to ignore the narcissist as much as possible. Sometimes you do need to bring in outside people and outside players into that situation, like HR, when it gets to a certain point. But generally speaking, you're going to have to use that opportunity to really set up boundaries. What are your boundaries? How are you going to respond to narcissistic abuse, or even the enticement from a narcissist to get you to come into, you know, their swirling vortex of narcissistic mind games that they want you to come and play? So that's number one, is to recognize the fact that you can turn the tables on the narcissist simply by playing a different game, simply by refusing to engage them on their playing field where you know you're going to lose. Start playing a completely different game. They can't beat you in that game over here because they don't know anything about morals or ethics or treating people fairly and being kind to one another. So they don't understand the spiritual principle of sowing and reaping. Another thing that some people have found helpful, and again, this depends on the narcissist and the specific situation, because this can also backfire in some situations where if you have a very aggressive narcissist, but mirroring the narcissist sometimes is effective. So, for example, let's say you're in a conversation with a narcissist and they engage in name calling or some other verbal abuse towards you. What you could do then is not call them names back, but to really ask them, just state to them that you're not going to respond until they think about what they've just said to you and how they would respond if you said that to them. And really get them to look at the situation, you know, because typically that will shut them down. Sometimes they'll make excuses for what they're doing, and it's like, yeah, but you still did whatever, whatever. And again, this is why it's a case-by-case basis. Sometimes narcissists are so self-involved that they will not or cannot look at your perspective in the situation. So again, understanding the type of narcissist that you're dealing with is really going to be important when you're going to try to implement mirroring. But mirroring in such a way as just recognizing the fact that they are trying to engage you in a way to get supply, whether that's to make you angry, make you sad, make you cry. Any kind of emotional reaction is what they're after because they get energy from that. So when you can recognize that, you can set up a boundary and you can stop engaging in that. You can cut off the supply, you know, to the narcissist simply by saying, I'll respond to you when you think about what you just said to me and how you would respond if I said that to you. And sometimes that can shut them down. Ultimately, what's really going to help you once and for all turn the tables on the narcissist is by taking a look at the situation that you're in and really looking at what lessons or life skills you need to be learning in that situation. And I say this because it's going to be impossible for you to forever and ever, amen, avoid a narcissist. At some point, your path is going to cross with a narcissist. There's just too many people who have extreme narcissistic tendencies or personality traits for you to never come across one again. And I've talked a lot about not attracting the same spirit in a different body a lot. And I believe that that is true for sure. And that has to do with healing the things that attracted you to the narcissist and the narcissist to you at the deepest parts of who you are. But to think that you're never going to come into contact with a narcissist again after you're completely healed is just nonsense. So you still need to develop something from this situation that you're in with the narcissist, regardless of what it looks like. Whether you're in a custody battle with a narcissist, whether you work for one, you know, whether you're related to one, like it's a sibling or a parent or something like that, there's something for you to be learning in that situation. There is a life skill, there is a lesson that you need to learn, or you're going to repeat the same scenario over and over until you learn the lesson. And it's ultimately learning that lesson, and it typically has to do with boundaries. It has to do with learning your self-worth. It has to do with learning to speak up for yourself and demanding what you are worthy of, the value that you bring into the situation, the value that you bring or add into the world. You need to know what that is and have enough self-confidence and self-worth that you ask for it. So there's going to be a lesson that you need to learn, and that's ultimately the way that you turn the table on the narcissist, because the narcissist is always going to be about having you stay as small and as low as possible, because they think that the smaller you are, the bigger they are, you know, the more energy that they get. And so recognizing what the narcissist ultimately wants from you, and recognizing also that there is a reason that they think they can take that from you. There's a reason why they picked you as the supply. There is a reason why you continue to perpetuate the same cycles over and over again. And when you finally understand what the lesson is, and the behaviors that you need to change, and the new things that you need to implement in your life, you can move on from that lesson, and you won't be intimidated anymore by a narcissist. You won't be intimidated about if you have to work with a narcissist, or if you have to work for a narcissist, or you won't be intimidated about going to Thanksgiving, you know, with your family because your sister or your brother is a narcissist. You're not going to worry about those situations, because you're going to have the coping skills necessary, the life skills necessary to implement whatever needs to be done in that situation. Again, this has to do with taking authority over your space, over your environment. You set the tone for the atmosphere. You don't play the narcissist game, because you'll always lose at that one. But your game, you can control your atmosphere, you can control your environment, and you can force the narcissist to come underneath that authority, because there's a higher spiritual law in place, you know, when you try to implement those things. So it's important, again, to really recognize who you are and your worth, your value in life, and taking command, taking authority over your atmosphere from that place is really what's going to set the tone for you and the narcissist, and your relationship, regardless of what the narcissist, who that narcissist is in your life. Again, boss, coworker, family member, spouse, child, it doesn't matter. You're going to know how to effectively handle narcissists. There's not a situation in life that you're going to face that doesn't have some sort of lesson to teach you. Every single obstacle, problem, unfortunate circumstance is teaching you something that you are going to need later on in life. You're going to need to know the end result, the lesson from that situation to face another situation in life. And so again, by learning how to do this, you are going to be not only teaching yourself some great life skills that you're going to need later on, but you're probably going to be able to teach your children how to appropriately handle narcissists. You're going to be able to help your friend who later on goes through a divorce, or teach a course at your church, or whatever it is that you are called to do. However this lesson expresses itself in your life, you're going to be able to do that effectively, and to affect more than just yourself and your situation, but literally shift a culture. So I hope that you will have a new outlook on the situation that you are facing with the narcissist. Really take a look at your behaviors, and if they're not working, evaluate why, and see if there's something else that you could be implementing instead. Once again, I'm Dr. Angel Storm. I'm the founder of Ashes to Beauty Ministries. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.